So we did a video a while back talking about the release of the Friday the 13th box set and how it had somewhat of a troubled release. I want to talk now about the release of the classic Halloween complete collection box set. And this story is one of the greatest physical media stories ever told. But it's important to note at the birth of Scream Factory what happened. I'll never forget everybody's jaws dropping at this. Now, I had gotten into physical media pretty heavy, especially mostly horror physical media. It was a just exploratory time for me. Still buying a lot of DVDs, but all of a sudden, there was this company called Shout Factory that I learned about because I was buying shows like Spin City on DVD. And I would look at the side and I would see Shout Factory. So I was aware of what that company was. And not too long after that, I think it was either Pizzal or somebody that talked about there's a new company called Scream Factory. Now, this is going to be the horror branch of the company Shout Factory. And they said that they were going to do Blu-ray releases for Halloween's 2 and 3. Now, it's important to note how insane that was at the time. You know, Blu-ray was a format that was relatively new-ish. It had been out for a number of years. I think Blu-ray kind of came out in 2006 or 7, but it's important to note you weren't really getting cult titles. And at the time of 2013, I would still definitely consider Halloween's 2 and 3 cult titles. You could maybe exclude one from that, considering that's in the pantheon of classic horror, but I really think 2 and 3, if you would have said we're going to get Blu-rays of these, I would have been like, yeah, maybe one day, but not anytime soon. So when we had the announcement of Scream Factory announced that they were going to do Halloween's 2 and 3, I remember it was just insanity, especially, and I mean especially, for Halloween 3. I just don't think anybody thought this would ever happen. It was pandemonium. So when these came out, I'll never forget, Halloween 3, I ordered the super bundle. I got this with the posters and everything. And Halloween 2, I didn't have the money to get the nice releases. So what I did is I ended up ordering Halloween 2 from Scream Factory on DVD, pre-ordered this with the other one, which may sound kind of silly, but you gotta remember, I wasn't on board with Blu-ray completely at the time. I just knew that with Halloween 3, I needed to get the Blu-ray because of how insane this seemed. So, and money was tight because I was basically just trying to figure out my life at that time. 2013, I was maybe 22, 21, so I wasn't exactly made of money, not that I am now. But I ended up ordering the DVD, which is interesting that Scream Factory started out releasing stuff on DVD as well as Blu-ray. I don't remember when they completely stopped that. But, so when this happened, it was just, oh my God, I'll never forget the excitement. And this came out and there was I believe it was a nurse's cap you could have gotten with the pre-order of Halloween 2. Now, they haven't done anything like that really since. But this release, I'll never forget, just shocked the horror fans. And they created these great special features and things like that. And as I was getting into the Halloween franchise big time, I mean, I fell in love with it. I mean, the fact that I've got it, on my body now, I mean, it's very important to me. And even though I poke fun at the Halloween series every now and again with jokes, like, if you listen to the podcast or live streams, I have fun. Halloween is so important to my life. I mean, it really got me through hard times when I was in school and I just needed something to relax to. I mean, Halloween was so important to me, as well as other franchises, but I'll never take away my love for Halloween, especially the great Halloween 3. I was learning as I was watching these movies the history, and there was a great documentary called Halloween 25 Years of Terror. Funnily enough, people were sending Anthony Massey this video I did, and I interviewed him all about Halloween 25 Years of Terror, so you're definitely going to want to go look that up and watch that. But I learned a lot of things about the Halloween franchise at that point. I had learned that, the series not only had different timelines, but quite frankly, legally, it was all over the place. It goes from Trancas International Pictures, then becoming distributed by Universal for 2 sequels, and then when that went bad, it went back to another studio and became another independent thing, and it was distributed in a home video by, I think, Fox, and then all of a sudden, they did 2 of those, and then it went to Miramax, and then it went to the Weinstein Company for the Rob Zombie films. The series has more homes than you could shake a stick at, which makes it so bizarre that happened, because you don't see a whole lot of series where something like this occurs. The Halloween franchise has many, many homes. And people would start to talk about the idea of box sets over time. I would hear people talk about it. I would be part of conversations like, wouldn't it be really cool if there was like a box set of all the Halloween movies? And it seemed, when you got to understand something, before something like that happened, now we've got two. We've got the Friday the 13th collection. We've got the Halloween collection. But you have to remember, before that happened, it literally seemed impossible because of the legality of it. It was so a grandiose idea that people would just laugh when you would bring it up, because nobody thought it was possible. And this is what made this time so special, because, you know, Scream Factory's at the birth of their run. I think this was literally a year later. This was before, and I'm not saying I dislike the way things are now. There's obviously a lot of good to having people that can have you be in the know, and these other people that will be able to tell you about stuff and get scoops. It's always fun to learn about scoops, for instance, but there was something special about in 2014. All of a sudden, it's like early summer, and I get on Facebook one day, and I've got a bunch of notifications. I have no idea what's going on. There weren't people that were getting scoops yet, and it was just like Scream Factory announced something, and people were texting me. I was getting on the internet, and people were like, are you seeing what's going on? And lo and behold, I'll never forget reading about the Halloween box set. And I think prematurely, Amazon even put the listing on, which might have given some sort of sneak peek away. I can't remember for sure, but I remember something about a listing getting pulled really quick, and it might have been Amazon. Nowadays, they have companies like, I forget, there's a store, a Canadian-based store that accidentally lists everything way early that people find out about now. But I'll never forget reading it. It was a picture of a box set with Halloween, and there was the big pumpkin on the front, like that right there. I thought it was a joke at first. Again, you have to remember how outlandish this seemed. It hadn't really been done before, at least not in America with this series. I think there are some overseas stuff that's somewhat comprehensive, but we read about it, we couldn't believe it. We thought this was, everybody was just, it was pandemonium. And as I'm reading this, we come to find out something that was huge. And this is one of the reasons I think that box set is probably one of the most important box sets in horror history. For years and years, I had heard about Halloween 6's producer's cut. Now, I had gone on YouTube and seen some really cheap VHS-looking clips of it out of context, meaning I would just see those clips, not in the movie per se. And I'll never forget just being like, oh my God, what the hell is this? I'll never forget seeing this shot of Loomis screaming, and then all of a sudden you see this black silhouette with a big hat on, like the Man in Black with a briefcase, and you see this guy stop, look backwards, and then walk off into the sunset. And I couldn't imagine what the hell was this. I didn't know. And, you know, so I had never seen it in the context of the film. Now, the film had been sold at conventions, and you could go on eBay and get the producer's cut, and some of these people even made pretty cool DVD art, like Halloween 666, and they had some good-looking art for these, like, homebrew DVDs, bootleg DVDs, but I never could bring myself to buy it like that. I don't know what it was. I felt dirty watching this movie as a bootleg for some reason. I can't rationalize it at the time, but that was my headspace. But I would watch the clips on YouTube, but that's just the way it was. I did not buy a DVD of it. I'll never forget reading that we were going to get the producer's cut, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I'll even remember this. I remember assuming, because it seemed so outlandish, I remember telling my wife, then girlfriend Cindy at the time, hey, this is really cool. They're going to have the producer's cut. Even though it's a DVD, it's still going to be really cool to see it. I was so excited at the time, I didn't even read into the details enough. And she was like, no, they said it's a Blu-ray. And again, my jaw hit the floor. But what was really cool at this point was they were going to have all these new interviews and extras for it. And I'll never forget, when we pre-ordered this thing, the excitement and waiting for it was just palpable. We had to wait, and I'll never forget when it finally shipped. I ordered it with the lithograph. Now, the interesting thing is, for a while, I would get messages about wanting to buy my lithograph. Now, I proudly display this thing in my living room, as I think it's a beautiful poster, and they haven't really done anything in this style ever again. It's a long, skinny poster, and it's made out of this really expensive material. People pay big money for these things, but I can never sell that. That is such an important part of my collection. Obviously now, this is not the complete collection anymore, but it is in its context, because at the time, this was it. This is my favorite piece of art on it. You've got the pumpkin with the 15-disc set. And then this is part of what the lithograph art is. It's stretched out and it makes this picture. This is not part of the artwork. But it was the complete set, and, you know, we'll look at a few releases. You know, all black cases, the classic first film. 2-disc set. I don't believe this had the television cut. I could be wrong. Maybe it did. The Night She Came Home, which was, I think, on the Anchor Bay Blu-ray that came out a year prior. There was a lot of great features on here. Halloween, A Cut Above the Rest documentary is on that. Really cool. And, of course, at this point, they gave us all original artwork, which I don't think you'll ever beat. Halloween 2, you've got your beautiful Jacko skeleton. You know, you got your making-ofs in here. And the television cut, which is on a DVD, which I think is still on a DVD with the 4K. But Via Vision is releasing Halloweens 2 and 3. And I believe on their Halloween 2, the TV cut is, in fact, on a Blu-ray. Here is Halloween 3. With that classic artwork. You'll never beat that. 1-disc set, because, you know, that's all they needed for that. Halloweens 4 and 5 was really exciting to see on Blu-ray, because this was the first time I saw it on Blu-ray. They, I believe, either right after this, right before this, had Trancas put out their Blu-rays for them. But these were really cool. Really, really cool. I believe there might have even been an audio issue with 4, and I got a replacement disc. If I'm right, I'm right, but I could be off on that. It's been a number of years. But yeah, then here is Halloween 6, and what made this interesting is, you know, there was a slimmer version of the Halloween box set, which I might have shown before. I can't remember. I might do a video on that. But, you know, they didn't have the producer's cut in the slimmer 10-disc set. But on the 15-disc set, this was the only way to get the producer's cut. And I'll never forget opening up the case. I couldn't believe it until I actually opened it. Then sure enough, I saw it, the producer's cut. And that was the first thing I watched when I got this box set, was the producer's cut. It was just... And I love the producer's cut. The 4K made me appreciate the theatrical cut a little bit more, because of seeing those hallway scenes in red are... just simply amazing, quite frankly. Of course, next up we've got Halloween H2O, Resurrection. And this was what was cool, seeing these in here, because they finally felt like they were part of the family. And here's the thing, at this point, these movies were way more volatile to fans than they even are now, because there was still a freshness to these movies, and people just vehemently hated them. I can remember people saying, I remember people saying, I wish they would have kept these out of the box set. They don't deserve to be in there. But, you know, this one does have the Halloween making of, the 4.5-hour one. This one does not have any documentary because of the stories, but I believe these were only the unrated director's versions. Yeah, director's cut for 1. You got the 2 discs on that, and then on 2, this is where, oh yeah, you got the movie on 1 disc, and then you had the bonus disc, which was all the new interviews on that one, and the interviews were exceptional, so good. All the interviews they did on the box set, I'll never forget. Just that was the second thing I did. So actually, after I got the box set, I watched all the extras, and they had great making ofs. Josh Hartnett was on there. I mean, they had everybody. And then it had a booklet. I'll never forget the booklet. You know, all these cool stories from the making of the films. Even there's Jamie and Mustafa. Really cool stuff. And it looks like they got along right there. So, man, that Halloween box set was incredible. And it was a great release, and people were so happy. I mean, I'll never forget, everybody uploaded their review when they got that. Anybody that did YouTube videos, whether they talked about horror, whether they reviewed movies, everybody was dropping videos on that. And I think it was such a exciting time. Everybody watched each other's, because I remember watching everybody that did theirs, and I would comment, "This is amazing, isn't it?" And I did mine. I remember people saying, "Oh my God." It was just this incredible time. Incredible time. And the 4K run has been great. I enjoy that. I still think there's a chance maybe we can get the Rob Zombie ones on 4K and complete the 4K box set version of it. I'd like that. If not, you know, I don't know. I think probably we will. But nothing will ever beat that initial box set. It literally changed everything. It opened my... after that, I did believe that there could be a Friday box set, because I would say, if they can do it, then that's only 2 studios with Friday the 13th. But it was amazing. I mean, it was one of the greatest moments in my physical media journey. It was an oh my God moment, and I'm still hoping that I can have one of those oh my God moments today. You know, there's still some that can happen. You know, what if, just what if, guys, instead of just a 4K of an Elm Street 1, we get the announcement of an Elm Street box set? What if it happened? You never know. Here's to hoping. But looking back, guys, man, I'm excited just talking about that. I'll never forget how great that was. If you guys enjoyed this, you want me to do a retrospective on the 10-disc set, I'd love to do that, because I actually enjoy that set, and I'd love to explain why. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.